Good evening, folks, and a hearty welcome to our drive-in theater. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you, one that will provide several hours of pleasurable relaxation and diversion for you and your family. Did you fail to dress up for tonight's show? No tie, an old shirt and slacks, a house dress? Well, don't give it a thought. We're glad you came as you are. We just want you to enjoy yourselves. Don't forget to visit our refreshment center during the intermission or any time. You love the tasty array of snacks we have to offer. So will the youngsters. Everything is quality and so good. We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Bring the family. Bring your friends. There are always wonderful new pictures to see, delightful snacks to nibble, a gay, pleasant evening for all. Oh, a word of caution. Don't drive over 10 miles an hour in the theater area for your safety's sake. And Mom or Pop, go with the kids when they leave the car. We hope you have a wonderful time. Come back soon. Wouldn't some hot buttered popcorn hit the spot right now? Extra fluffy, extra big kernels of it popped to perfection. Then drenched with the golden goodness of pure sweet creamery butter. Can't you just taste it? We heat the container extra high, but you better buy 2 more for the rest of the family. Piping hot, golden buttered popcorn at the refreshment center right now.
With the swiftness of a deadly cosmic ray, the Earth is invaded by indestructible moon monsters. Their ghastly mission, death for all humans. What astounding technical developments are being made to protect mankind? Robot Monster brings you an actual preview of the devastating forces of our future. Unsuspected revelations of incredible horrors that will terrify you with their brutal reality.
There is no escape from me. Very well. I will recalculate. Your death will be indescribable. Fool humans, there is no escape.
Hey, kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it. Now remember, lots of adults and kids, too, paid admission to enjoy the show. We must insist on absolute quiet. Otherwise, we will be forced to evict all disturbance makers from the theater. Those asked to leave today will be refused admission to this theater in the future. Thank you.
Well, hello there, team. Hi, Rex. Hi, Expose. Happy Halloween. Well, soon. Eventually, in a couple days. And so you're sharing some Robot Monster love down there, which I totally am behind. You know, Robot Monster, it's weird, because it's not quite, like, so bad it's good. Like, the most sublime so bad it's good movie is Plan 9, and Robot Monster is not nearly that entertaining, but I still love just its weirdness. It's total weirdness, and the just the zero budget, like no budget filmmaking, and the gorilla spacesuit thing robot is hilarious. And yeah, I have seen. I think it's out of production right now, but there was a Robot Monster soft vinyl figure for a while, and there is a Robot Monster plush out there that I haven't gotten yet. I want to get, so don't everybody go buy it right now, because I want to get it. But yeah, Robot Monster is pretty fun. And I just realized I forgot to turn on the Bates Motel sign. Hold on. There we go. Bates Motel, open for business. So it's kind of the Robot Monster for Halloween costume this year, but wanted to finish the Universal canon first. Oh, fair enough. That would actually be a good costume. Well, I guess the hard part would be the diving bell, right? Like, the gorilla suit is easy, but the helmet would be the hard part to do for a Robot Monster costume. Hey Rex, expose. Hola! Just in Mexico for a few days. Nice. Creature Otaku, hi! The minion from Megamind is a reference to the robot gorilla monster. Oh yeah, cool. Mexico was fun. In the airplane, I watched your video about the Mexican King Kong comic book. Did you find any copies down there? That is a project for somebody, sometime, to do, is doing like a trade paperback and translation of the Mexican King Kong comic. I am down for that. I will support the Kickstarter for that one. I know they're making a Robot Monster 3D comic. Ooh, that's exciting. Hey, Bride of Monster Kid. Hello. No, I did not. Sorry. Yeah. All I've seen is just like copies go for a lot of money on eBay. I wish I was able to get my hands on some of those copies, and ideally as many as possible, and actually like somehow produce a trade paperback, or if there's some company that actually owns them right now, like owns the trademark and owns like the copies of it, has an archive of them, whatever, do the translations. That'd be great, because just from my video on the covers, Mexican King Kong is wild, and I want to read those stories. I want to see what is going on behind those covers. Their food was great. I imagine the food was great. I very much enjoyed Mexican food, both authentic and like taco time Mexican. Either way, it was one of my favorite lands in Disney World, in Epcot. My friend's grandpa has a collection of monster comics from when he grew up in Mexico. I wanted to look through them to see. Yeah, that would be cool. If you find any, Rex, do let me know. Yeah, Mexico is like a whole other world of awesomeness. Mexican King Kong comic, the whole market in like bootleg soft vinyl figures. I never did get the Predacon because I'm not really into like Alien and Predator. I used to be when I was like a teenager. I was totally into Alien and Predator, and the Dark Horse comics, Aliens versus Predator, all that sort of stuff. But now, as an old geezer, I'm way more into the classic horror than the. Would you even call Alien and Predator modern anymore? But modern post 1968 horror. But I never got the Xenozilla and Predacon. So yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to movie theater to watch the 1925 Phantom of the Opera, not only in the theater, but with a live band. It might sound like the soundtrack for the 1980s The Thing. Cool. That's cool. I've seen Phantom a couple times. I know one year for Halloween, the Bride of Monster Kid and I went to a church, actually, and they played the Phantom of the Opera, the 1925 version. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I can't remember how many times I've seen Phantom. At least a few times. So we used to have like an annual silent movie festival here in Calgary with the theater organ played by Dennis James, who is one of the preeminent silent film organists of today. And they're also at the same theater, which was this like 1950s Art Deco theater. They also had an annual Halloween party, which is like where the first time I ever saw Vampire, which is like my favorite horror movie, and like Nosferatu, first time I saw it in the theater. Was it that? They might have played Phantom at one point. I'm trying to remember. But unfortunately, that theater is gone now because somebody bought the building and renovated it and ripped out the theater, which is, like, insane. I think we're all into Predator versus Alien in the late 90s. Yeah, absolutely. Dark Horse made it cool. The first Alien movie and the first Predator movie on Laserdisc. Wow, Laserdisc. Phantom is amazing with live music. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I was into, like, well, it's the thing, I never really was into slashers. Like, I never got into, kind of got into Halloween, but not really to speak of. Nightmare on Elm Street, never did get into that. Friday the 13th, never got into that. But Alien and Predator I did, probably because it crossed over enough with science fiction that it was, like, cool. And I had, like almost every, like, Alien comic that Dark Horse made up to late 90s. And also the Alien magazine, like the British Alien magazine. I collected that as well. I don't think I have any of those left, though. I think those are all gone now. I just saw Mask of Red Death with Vincent Price in the theater. Nice. I also went to see a live show of Nosferatu in a silent movie museum. That is so cool. Nice. Yeah, unfortunately, like, the closest I get nowadays is that our national theater chain in Canada, Cineplex Odeon, they do a classic movie series. But what they consider classic movies now and what they used to consider classic movies are, like, different things. So in the past, I've seen, like, Dracula and Frankenstein and so on and so forth. I've seen Casablanca, like, 4 times. I've seen Gone with the Wind, like, 5 times in theater, that sort of thing. But nowadays, their idea of classic is, like, 80s movies. Not so much like 30s movies. So, unfortunately, that's kind of shifted a bit. I got 2 old horror film books from the 1970s, and they are very cool. At the same bookstore, I got a 1920s copy of At the Earth's Core by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Also, my birthday was fun. Nice. Yeah, happy birthday. If there was a thing I wish I could go back to in horror history is the Phantom faced for the first time in 1925. Yeah. There's so much stuff, like, I wish, yeah, you could recapture that moment. Right? Recapture that moment when people first saw the Phantom's face in 1925. Recapture that moment when they first saw the Frankenstein monster in 1931. Stuff like that. That's why, like, one thing that I've compared this to, and why I actually liked the Godzilla anime, the 3-part movie there. It was the Planet Eater, was the third movie, anyways. When Ghidorah appears, and he's, like, coming through these singularities, like some Lovecraftian horror from another dimension, because that's what he is. And, like, Godzilla shoots him with his atomic blast, and it just, like, bends around Ghidorah, because Ghidorah is warping time and space around him. And it's just, like, I had this moment of just, like, oh, shit. And I thought, God, that's what it must have been like. That's what it must have been like for audiences in, like, 1964 to see Ghidorah materialize out of the air and attack Godzilla for the first time. It must have been like that kind of, like, oh shit moment there seeing that. And it's like, I think that's, like, the closest I've ever gotten to being, like, scared by Ghidorah was in the anime. And the closest to what I imagine it would have been like in the 60s to see Ghidorah for the first time. And same with, like, Shin Gojira as well. Like, seeing Shin, like, blow up and destroy the city with his laser blast was, like, just how I would imagine audiences in 1954 watching the original Gojira must have felt. It's kind of the closest I ever got, but yeah, I wish there was moments you could go back to and just do it over again, right? I partly have to live through The Bride as well, because The Bride of Monster Kid did not grow up with all of this stuff. So I get to show it to her and take notes, like, tell me what it felt like. Like, she might not like me sharing this story. She was actually afraid of the Haunted Mansion. When we went to Disneyland, she was actually scared in the Haunted Mansion. For her, it was totally like a haunted house. And I've never been scared in the Haunted Mansion. To me, the Haunted Mansion is like this fun aesthetic experience of spookiness, Whereas for her, it was actually scary. So I'm like, tell me all about it, Bride of Monster Kid. What was the experience like being actually scared by it? So, let's see. I love Mask of Red Death. Yeah. I like Friday the 13th because Jason is like Godzilla. He's just unstoppable. I've also recently gotten to Elm Street because I have been writing some more character. Cool grab on At the Earth's Core. I have one from the 40s, but I've been looking for a 20s version. Nice. Godzilla anime was great. My kids made fun of me for not liking their anime, but it was totally worth it. Nice. Yeah, a lot of people give a lot of flack to the Godzilla anime, I think because it's not like Monster Brawl fights. Like, I noticed there's some crossover. It's like the same people who didn't like the anime also didn't like Shin Gojira. Because it's like a lot of like heavy philosophical stuff, and it's not a lot of like monsters duking it out. That's like the Monsterverse is for. Go enjoy that. Yeah, I liked the anime. I mean, it did feel a bit long at times, but it was so philosophically rich. And the bride and I were discussing these anime movies for longer than the movies were. Like, after the third one was done, we like sit up all night like discussing the trilogy and what it meant, and for longer than the duration of the trilogy was. So I actually liked the anime. I also got Paris in the 20th Century by Jules Verne. Apparently it was a lost manuscript that got published in the late 90s to the early 2000s. Yep. Like 2000 something. Yeah, it was going to be Verne's second book. After, what was the first one? I think his first one was 5 Weeks in a Balloon, if I remember correctly. And, but it was going to be, yeah, Paris 20th Century was going to be like his second one. And his publisher, Jules Hetzel, said, no way, you cannot publish this. Because Paris in the 20th Century is like a dystopian futurist novel. And he's like, this is so depressing, it is going to ruin your career. So he put it in his safe and kept it there, and then got Verne to publish like During the Descent of the Earth and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and all of these like high adventure stories that everybody loved, and it made his career. And then, yeah, in the 90s, Paris in the 20th Century was rediscovered in the papers of Jules Hetzel, and then published. And I have a copy of it, and it's hilarious because it more or less describes today. Like, my favorite line in it is the most typical one, which is that he's talking about how nobody reads. That everybody could read, could even write, but nobody wants to read. Like, that is today. That is what is going on. That's exactly it. Yeah, it's a really good novel. He also blames Wagner for the decline of music, which is really funny. Yeah, Paris in the 20th Century is actually it's interesting reading it, living in the 20th century, or having lived through it, into the 21st century, and seeing how much Verne actually kind of got right. And his dystopia is just our normal society today. My internet is really bad right now because I live in a rural area, all because I wanted pigs and chickens, no regrets. Well, yeah, for sure. Sometimes I think making a retirement job for myself in like a little town or in a national park would be a lot of fun. Get more to nature. I thought Godzilla anime was fine. I prefer seeing real people destroying stuff. Fair enough. Although all the coolest and most culturally interesting people dabble in anime. Correct. The bookstore is very cool. I got a postcard of Jules Verne, and it's in my room and watches me sleep. Nice. I was scared of Haunted Mansion when I was a kid. Now I'm afraid of the drop in Pirates. Oh, yeah. I liked both Haunted Mansion and Pirates. They were my favorite rides at Disneyland. But now, it's down to Haunted Mansion, because Pirates of the Caribbean has been so vandalized, first by Jack Sparrow, and then by all of the sort of politically correct changes to it, that now, like, Pirates of the Caribbean could barely even qualify as a decent ride anymore. Like, so little of it makes sense, and so much of it is just there to call attention to, like, look, it's this character from the movie. That, yeah, barely qualifies as a decent attraction anymore. Haunted Mansion is still my favorite at Disneyland. Twilight Zone Tower of Terror was also my favorite attraction at California Adventure, but then they took it out, so now it's like, okay, whatever. A Disneyland Enchanted Tiki Room would be after Haunted Mansion, I guess, my most favorite attraction, second favorite attraction. For quality, Indiana Jones and Temple of the Forbidden Eye, like that is an amazing attraction. Like just for sheer quality of it and immersive experience of it, it is amazing. Jungle Cruise is alright, except they changed it again to make it inoffensive, and then they added a joke about Canada in it, so it's like, okay, thanks guys. Yeah, anyways. So, but I do tend to I prefer spooky attractions or like cool sci-fi ones. Like my favorite Disney attractions overall are 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Journey to the Center of the Earth in Tokyo Disney Sea, they're amazing attractions in an amazing park. I have a complete Tarzan collection. I have, 5 Weeks was the first one, yeah. Haunted Mansion was scary, Bride says. All those ghosts staring and bouncing right at your face. Yep. I have a complete Tarzan collection. I have an original copy of Tarzan in the Forbidden City. Nice. Bride of Monster Kid, little me agrees. Keep the ghosts far from me. Hey, Cory, big fan of your work. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. My favorite Disney ride is the railroad, especially the dinosaur section. Yes, I like feeling seen. Representation, dinosaur representation. Yeah, you know, I love the railroad as well. Yeah, for sure. And here's the thing. Okay, when I first went to Disneyland, 2005, 50th anniversary of Disneyland. I had not been to Disneyland. I was 27 years old. And I went, because I had gotten back into Disney, I've told the story before, I've gotten back into Disney through, on the one hand, like goth, so like Haunted Mansion, Disney Villains, and by extension, the Disney Fairy Tales. And on the other hand, through like steampunk, so like the Victorian science fiction stuff, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and all that sort of thing. So I go to Disneyland, and it's like, I love the Main Street aesthetic. Like, the gay 90s aesthetic, I love that aesthetic. Even though, like, my Monster Kid Cory persona is, like, mid-century, what I love is actually, like, turn of the century. And the train. You know, I love trains. I love antiquated forms of transportation. I love the fact that Disneyland has a steam train and has a paddle wheeler. So I get on the steam train and around to go, and I actually somehow, in all my research, had never found out that there were these dioramas along the train. And first we see the Grand Canyon, and it blows my mind, just it by itself. And it's actually because of the Disneyland Railroad that I actually went to the Grand Canyon. Like, that's what actually provoked me to go to the Grand Canyon. When I found out that, well, first of all, the Grand Canyon's amazing, but also there is an actual steam train that goes to the Grand Canyon, the Grand Canyon Railway. Like, oh my god, I have to actually go now. Go take a real steam train to the real Grand Canyon. But then comes Primeval World, and that completely blows my freaking mind. Like, how did I not know that there were dinosaurs along the Disneyland Railroad? So there I am in a steam train looking at dinosaurs going by. I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. Because I'm into paleontology as well. That's actually where, like, more of my career is, earth science education. So it's like, oh my god, dinosaurs and steam trains. And then I have ridden in the Lily Bell, which is the VIP lounge coach at the back of the train. So you're like surrounded like this Victorian splendor in this coach, and looking out the windows, and there's dinosaurs. Like, oh my god, this is like, I love this so much. This is amazing. Yeah, fond memories of the Disneyland Railroad and Primeval World. Back when I was in school, we had to make our own fictional country. Mine was just Skull Island, but with some name changes the teacher never found out. Nice. By the way, I worked at the original Hollywood Tower Hotel for many years. The Joshua, the one in Disney World? That one? Rex, my favorite California Adventure ride is the Ferris wheel, because I loved going on the real Ferris wheel it's based on. Oh yeah, cool. I have a cloth-bound version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and a leather-bound version of Journey to the Center of the Earth. When we went to Paris last, which would have been 2013, So that's where the bride and I were engaged. It was in Paris. I was so tempted to actually buy an original copy of Verne. Because, all along the Seine, there are all of these, like, booksellers and stuff. It's quite romantic, quite wonderful. You're strolling along, there's all these people selling all sorts of stuff. And a lot of these booksellers have Verne books, like first printings and stuff of the Voyage Extraordinaire. And I was very tempted to get one, but they are very expensive. Like, hundreds of dollars to buy them, if not thousands. Canadian. So, I did not end up getting one. But it's like, man, that would have been a heck of a souvenir. Tiki horror and tiki camp are my favorite things to make the gatekeepers really mad. Oh god, I'm so torn on it, because on the one hand, you see what happens when the gatekeepers don't gatekeep. You see it happen with a lot of modern franchises, where you get these tourists that come in, and they wreck the joint. So I understand the urge to gatekeep tiki. And I've talked about this in my videos, right? But also, I enjoyed the exploration and the playing the fringes of that. It's where I developed my whole thesis about how you want to have a core of people who are really purist. But not to the point where they're like crapping on everybody else is doing, but at least people who are like, no, this is what I like, and this is what tiki's about. And they hold that center, and then you have people sort of around that in these diffuse fringes where it overlaps with like horror or whatever, Disney stuff, whatever. And that's where you get like the fun exploration and things going on, but you still keep it centered in what the core pure tiki aesthetic is. You don't want to gatekeep with borders, but you want to keep that center, that core to it, right? So I don't set out to make the tiki gatekeepers mad. It ends up happening because you get those people who aren't keeping a core and saying, this is the thing that I like, this is what it was historically, this is what I like, and this is what I want to... as you're exploring, make sure you keep focused on what tiki is supposed to be. Which would be people who are like, no, monsters aren't tiki. If you have monsters in your tiki bar, it's not a real tiki bar, it's fake tiki. Like, okay, whatever. Like, you're just being a spoil sport at that point. Anyways, that's... whatever. But, saying as somebody who would have... King Kong and monsters and stuff in his tiki bar. Expose, you have a much cooler book collection, but I only started a few years ago. Nice. I'm related to the T-Rex who modeled for the Primeval World. He passed away recently. Of course you are, Rex. Of course you are. Yeah, your family is for dinosaurs in Hollywood, like what the Samoans are in pro wrestling, right? Yeah, there's a lot of good bookstores around my area. Nice. Yes, at the then Disney MGM Studios. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad that the original Hollywood Tower Hotel is still there. I kind of consider that like the only real attraction that's worth going to the Disney Hollywood Studios for. I mean, granted, I haven't ridden the Mickey Mouse one yet. But because that came after we went to Disney World. But the Tower of Terror, yeah, especially now that it's the only one in North America. I would make a loose adaptation of the unfinished film Creation, which the prequel to my series, and the main couple is the main character's parents. Cool. My book collection isn't as cool, but I have a pretty nice comic collection. Gatekeepers are the worst. I was lucky that you and my other tiki mentor were chill. There are a lot of chill people, and I've talked about my issues with the tiki scene before and why I don't really hang out in it, because it's too many. There's too many dour spoil sports, the fun police, right? I think you can be a purist and be like, no, this is what I like. I like the 1960s mid-century tiki style, and I like keeping close to that, and say that's what you like. And to hold that center point, but not without being the fun police for everybody else. But it's like every group, it's like somebody posts something that's just like slightly askew, having a little bit of fun with it, mixing it with something else, whether it's monsters or Godzilla or King Kong or horror or whatever, Star Wars, the geeky tiki mugs. And you get the fun police, like, you can't do that because that's not the thing that I like. And it's like, well, no, it's not, because it's not your home tiki bar, it's my home tiki bar, and I put what I would like in my home tiki bar. But for me, as long as it touches the same notes, like, yes, Tiki is centered on the Pacific and the experience of the Pacific. But, that, because Tiki is a mid-century fad, it does overlap with other mid-century things. And, for me, it's like monsters, right? The mid-century monster kitsch. And to me, I think as long as it hits the same notes, then it's still good, because it's still hitting that tropical escapist thing, right? And yeah, if you have like too much like African stuff, then your tiki bar looks more like an African bar than like a Polynesian type bar. And I get that distinction. And like, nobody's saying that like absolutely anything can be tiki. Everybody knows that it's centered on Polynesia, the Pacific experience. But they like to dabble with these other things. And that's okay, and if you don't like it, that's fine. It's just like, don't harsh other people's squee about it. So, I don't think I have any comics, but I do have pulp magazine reprints. I've been in and out of comic collecting so often over my 46 years of life. Right now, actually, just the other day, last couple days, I've picked up the new Transformers Energon Universe comics by Skybound. Are so good. If you want like a version of Transformers that is true to the original like 1980s Transformers, but written for adults, that is mature, but it's not like dark and edgy and violent, like whatever. Not trying too hard, not being cringe, trying to be adult. It's actually really good. It's so good. I also picked up a couple like trade paperbacks of old Batman comics and Superman comics. And what else? Sandman Mystery Theater. Picked that up. A trade paperback of that as well. Which is the 1940s version of Sandman. The dude with like the suit and the gas mask and the fedora stuff. So I'm going to get around to reading that eventually as well. Those lights look really nice. Thank you. Thank you, Toasted. Yeah, I've got these like puck lights kicking around here. Oh, the Bates Motel went out. Oh no, I didn't put new batteries in it. Oh well, I should turn that off. Yeah, I got these puck lights, ostensibly for the Kongs, because there's a few, you can't see it because of the thing in the way here. But I have these, actually hold on, let me fiddle with this for a second here. Get rid of the sidebar there. Right back in here, got this, there we go, that. Skull Island fish tank ornament there, and then put the puck light in there so that it gets this red glow. When there's not a sidebar there. Cycle through, and then put Mezco Kong back. Yeah, just to get some fun lighting and stuff in there. And then, like, without having to wire it up or anything like that, because plugins are at a premium in my place. But get some more dramatic lighting back here, so it looks a little bit more engaging. Is it offensive to say all T-Rexes are related? Yes, it is inaccurate. No. Yes, is it inaccurate? No. Nice. Well, yeah, as long as you like Martin Denny, you will be fine. Yeah. Gotta have the Martin Denny plate. Quiet Village is like the Tiki song. Although I will say, weirdly enough, like Jackie Gleason, his music, it's like this total like 1950s easy listening music, is actually perfect for Tiki bars as well. Actually, and I don't know like what it is. Probably Disney got me into it, but like that mid-century sound, I love it. Like it's like the mid-century Disney soundtracks. So think like Disneyland incidental music. The theme song to The Jungle Book is also like a perfect Tiki song. Yeah, I'm not going to play it because I don't want my stream to get temporarily suspended. But yeah, that mid-century sound, and like Martin Denny has it, and Jackie Gleason has it. Nelson Riddle and Les Baxter as well. Les Baxter have it as well. Yeah, I don't know why that mid-century sound is what it is, but why? What if you made a Why is Blank So Horrible as a weird version of Why is Blank So Great? First episode might be Reefer Madness. You don't have to do it, obviously. You know, other than me ragging on Epic Universe, which just comes out of a place of disappointment because like it could have been so much more. Other than that, I kind of have been trying to steer away from too much negativity. Yeah, I also criticize Disney and that because Disney's so easy to criticize right now. But overall, I want to stay positive, which is probably why I don't have a lot of... part of the reason why I haven't made a lot of videos lately. I've also been really busy between work in the summer and then health issues and things in our family this past month. Because there's just been controversies and things I could have weighed in on if it really felt like it. Be contrarian and so on. But no, I'd rather talk about why things are so great than why things are so horrible. Even though the why is so horrible would get me clicks. But that's also like endless. Like there's so much bad stuff out there. So I'd have to pick like, why are the Star Wars prequels so bad? Well, no, everybody knows that already. Sick, I have some old copies of Weird Tales, but my favorite is either my copy of the Valley of the Guanji comic or my copy of the comic where Supergirl dates a horse. I'm not familiar with that story. I think those Skybound comics are really good, but I prefer IDW's run as it felt like it had a bit bigger of a scale. Fine. There's so many different continuities of Transformers. The IDW one didn't work for me because there are franchises where I am interested in reading like deconstructions of morality and good and evil and who is right and who is wrong and all blah 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 blah. All these sort of like complex, nuanced subjects. Transformers is not that franchise. Transformers are like my good guy's good, my bad guy's bad. And IDW was too much of like, actually, the Autobots are the bad guys. And I hate that so much. I actually haven't even seen the new Transformers movie, Transformers 1. I've heard it's really good, but it plays up that storyline that I really don't care for. It's the whole, like, actually the Decepticons are the good guys. They're just sort of like these misunderstood revolutionaries. And it's really the Autobots who are the bad guys. It's like, no, that's not why I like Transformers. I want my good guys good, my bad guys bad. Which Skybound, to their credit, does. So, like, Starscream is a rat bastard in the Skybound comics, and that's awesome. Rex, my freshman science teacher was named Mr. Bates. I asked if he was named Norman. It was like Robert, thankfully. I met his brother, who was named Norman. If I weren't bigger than him, I'd be scared. Pat, just curious, what is your favorite Kong figure in your collection? Ooh. They all have a story with them. If you were asking me just in terms of basic quality, I would go with the Mezco. I would say the Mezco Kong is my favorite. Just in terms of sheer quality as an action figure, I think it's the best. It's not quite... I think the NECAs do a better job of being like a 1933 likeness, but this is sort of a nice artistic representation of that, based on Joe DeVito's books and things. Yeah, and it's perfect. It's got the manacles, it's got Fay Ray there. Perfect. And it's a well-done figure, nicely posable, yada, yada, yada. So as far as just an action figure goes, that's my favorite. My favorite piece in my collection, that's a harder one. My favorite overall piece. I mean, I like my Aurora models, so the Thronester and the King Kong model from Aurora. I've done videos on those, showing those, which is me saying I don't want to pull it out because it'd be too hard. The Fay Ray Barbie back there, I think, is one of my favorite ones as well, because it's not Kong. Like, Kong stuff, it's always the monkey. It's always the monkey. And I want more stuff than the monkey. I also love the X Plus T-Rex back here. Can't see him. The X Plus T-Rex right there. And like the Konami dinosaur figures as well are a lot of fun because they're not Kong. I want more stuff than Kong because I'm not just like a fan of the monster, I'm a fan of the movie. So more stuff from the movie is good. So the Fay Ray Barbie is just wild because it's a Barbie. And it's Fay Ray, it's not Kong, it's not the monster. I want more stuff that's not the monster. I would love a line of Kong toys, like if like Haya, that would be my vote right now. If Haya wanted to make a line of 1933 figures, you know, they do a 1933 Kong, fine. But then like a 33 T-Rex would be like the next one. No one has ever made a 33 Stegosaurus, to my knowledge. Like, I want that. Give me a Stegosaurus. Come on, guys. Yeah, like if Haya could make a line of Kong 33 toys. If Playmates did it, if Playmates even did it, and they actually had the dinosaurs, I would buy them. I'm sort of weaning off of Playmates because that's like toys for kids, and I'm more into like high-end collectibles. Like I have the Playmate Scar King. He's kind of like a placeholder until the Haya one comes out. You know, even if Playmates did a 33 Kong line and it had the dinosaurs in it, I would collect it. Because I want to see more figures of things that aren't just the monkey. So there's a long answer to your question, Pat. He's fine. I wish he could say the same about his mother. George Bruns, who composed Jungle Book, did many mid-century Adventureland music pieces. Yeah, and George Bruns, even just his normal albums, like his Dixieland album, his Exotica album, Moonlight Time in Old Hawaii. His other stuff is great. Tutti Camerata as well. Like Camerata's season albums, his summer, winter, spring, autumn albums are really good as well. For mid-century sound. The hardest decision I have this Halloween is, will it be a Boris Karloff or Vincent Price marathon? Ooh. Why choose? The Raven. Comedy of Terrors. What other movies they do together? I know they've been more than that. It's got to be more than that. Just find all the movies with both of them in it. And there you go. There's your marathon. Why choose? It was weird. He would turn into a human, but she only showed affection to his horse farm. I've heard about being dog-pilled, but not horse-pilled. How you seen The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai? I have actually not seen it. I have not seen Buckaroo Banzai. I should. And shocking, I have not. But I have not. Rex says, that is understandable. You should still see Transformers 1. It doesn't do the Autobots are actually bad. More the Decepticons are similar to the Autobots, but murder people. Yeah, you know, still, it's a bit like too close. Plus, I'm not as fond of the whole like 13 Primes origin. I like the G1 origin, where the Transformers were built as a slave race by the Quintessons. I like the, weirdly enough, even though I am a religious person, I prefer a naturalistic origin for my transforming toy robots. So, but yeah, I mean, I probably will see Transformers 1 at some point, whether that's streaming or what. It probably is in the cheap theater by now, even. Yeah. The Bride of Musket, ooh, that would be so hard. I think it depends on how silly I'm feeling. Definitely. When the 100th anniversary of The Lost World comes, I will do audio commentary on the film. Obviously, I don't know as much as you do about Lost World, so it would be more like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yeah, it definitely has its Mystery Science Theater moments in it, and Lord knows, I can make a joke for the entire movie. I have every moment in it, I can do a joke for it. Still searching for a check from that figure. I was waiting for Mighty Joe Young versus King Kong discussion to blow up the chat. Oh, not yet. But if you really want my opinion, King Kong obviously is the best. The best part of Mighty Joe Young was that weird, like, tiki bar, African tiki bar thing in it. I think they did make a 33 Stegosaurus in 33, though. You know, I don't know. I'm not as familiar with 33 merchandise, like, from 1933, as I should be. Probably just because I'm, like, washed my hands of the idea of ever owning anything original like that. I mean, even thinking, like, I know Lost World merchandise. The only toy that came out of the Lost World in 1925 was this Bendham's figure, which was like, it was this, it was like wood. It was this wood Brontosaurus figure that was advertised, like Bessie Love. It was advertised in conjunction with the Lost World. I don't remember seeing anything like that for Kong. So, I don't, maybe, but I don't know about it. But to my knowledge, like I said, my knowledge is not absolute, but to my knowledge, there's been no 33 Stegosaurus. And I would love it. I would love if, like, a Haya made a line of Kong 33 figures that had the dinosaurs. And even if you didn't include the Brontosaurus, you at least can do the T-Rex and the Stegosaurus. And you could probably do, well, the Pteranodon would be an accessory. Although, I mean, it is a big figure. Like, it should be a big figure. NECA undersized the Pteranodon. But you could do a larger scale one. And if it's still too small, you could do like a 2-pack with like the Pteranodon and like the Elasmosaurus, whatever it was, the long-necked thing that Kong kills. Tenostropheus, whatever you think it is. You could do like a 2-pack of those and balance that out. And what would be even better is like if each of the figures came with like a piece of the wall. That would be awesome. Like you have Kong 33 with the gate, and then each of the dinosaurs comes with like a piece of the wall. You could add into it there. Would be awesome. I would love that. But Haya, get on it. Get on. Well, I mean, Haya, get on like doing a freaking Scar King for already. Jeez, we're like gonna be. It's gonna be like Q4 2027 before we get Scar King. Pat says, yes, he's cool. I have the Chapman version. I also dig all the vintage Aurora monster models, including the Hot Rod versions. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to get like all of the Aurora ones, but I don't have space for them all. So I just got Kong because Kong fits with my collection. But yeah, I've actually, there's like this popular fad of doing the Mummy Aurora model in like blues and greens and purples and stuff. I'm kind of I'd be interested in trying that out. But for now, all I've got for Aurora models is Kong, who's down there behind the sidebar, and the Forgotten Prisoner right up there. Got that guy. I prefer toys for kids. It makes blocking fight scenes easier. Yeah, I can see that. Well, yeah, you know, I mean, toys for kids are fine. I'm not deriding them. It's just that, like, yeah, I don't collect like the Playmates ones, just because, yeah, you know, it's sort of like I'm at a point with my collecting, as you can see, it's pretty full over here, so I have to like pick and choose, and it's like with the Playmate stuff, am I just buying it because it's Kong? And I don't want to fall into that of just buying anything because Kong's on it. I want pieces that either have an interesting story with them, like, you know, the Son of Kong plushes up there, or which are just really high quality figures, like the NECAs and the Mezco there. So I want like a quality Scar King figure. I have the Playmates one, but like I'm waiting for Haya to announce Scar King. Like, get on it, Haya. And the Playmate stuff, like, that's fine. And people want to collect the Playmates, that's fine. And do it. Go for it. My blessing. It's just I'd rather get the higher end ones. Personally. So I prefer Haya to do a 33 Kong. But, you know, if Playmates does a 33 Kong and actually has the dinosaurs, then sold. Done. Will do. I've done a Mummy Marathon throughout October because that's my costume and I want to be in character. Perfect. Yeah. Right before this stream, I ordered a reprint of the original screenplay of Kong by Edgar Wallace. Yes, I've seen that book around. I didn't actually buy it, but I've seen ads for that. Also, can I make my own Why is Blank So Great, or are you very strict about the series? I'll go for it. I don't own the copyright on it, so I don't think I do. Do I own the copyright on it? Could I sue you? I won't. Don't worry. Feel free. I like the 13 Primes origin, but I'm a writer who likes big god-level stories. Yeah. No, fair enough. I mean, it's an interesting enough story. I just like the more... I don't know. I find there's something sort of, to me, a little more poetic about that, you know, the the Transformers were created as a slave race and then rose up again. This is very Moses-esque, right? The Transformers were created as a slave race, rose up against their masters, but then you still have that like nature versus nurture discussion in there because the Decepticons kind of can't help themselves because they were built as military machinery. And then you have like Orion Pax, who was this idealistic young factory or dock worker who idolizes the Decepticons because of what they can do, but then when he sees how evil the Decepticons are firsthand, then that sort of cures him of the idea that like you envy people for their abilities, like what they can do, and you want to instead admire people for their virtues, right? And that's like Optimus Prime coming in there. I like the poetry of all of that. Not that, I mean, I'm reading a lot into G1, but the only thing I don't like the naturalistic origin is for Unicron. Like, him being made by Primacon is pretty dumb. If I was rewriting the Transformers origin, I would actually have Unicron and Primus made as two separate factory planets. And Unicron was the military factory planet, and Cybertron was the consumer goods factory planet. And so the Decepticons come from Unicron. That would be how I would rework that. But where are we here? I'm too familiar, so many lawsuits. I love Camerata's Seasons albums. I'm in the process of restoring them right now. Nice. And his winter album is the inspiration for Christmas and Progress City album on my Epcot Legacy website. Cool. I'm going to check out that website. Epcot Legacy. Okay, I'm just going to quickly put that into my search bar here. It's that E82 website, I take it? EpcotLegacy.com. Yeah, they're so good. Camerata's stuff is so good. And Winter is the best one, actually, in my opinion. Winter is the best of the 4 albums. It's really good as John Lithgow is the main villain. Cool. I would love to see you do a Y. Blank is so great. Oh, there you go, 2 votes. I did a horror film marathon this Halloween. I watched more recent horror films, The Shining, American Psycho, an old one, The Mask of Fu Manchu, The Raven, 535, Mad Love. Nice. We were actually, the bride and I were talking about The Shining the other day because of how, like, how pulled together it is from different national parks. So, like, when they're driving to the hotel, it's Glacier National Park in Montana. The hotel itself, the exterior, is Mount Hood National Forest, the Timberline Lodge. And the interior is based on the Ahwahnee in Yosemite. But the bride vetoed actually watching The Shining. So, but I haven't actually watched any horror movies. The closest I've gotten is watching the Val Lewton ones for the video. And next month it'll be the Boris Karloff Val Lewton movies. That's the closest I've gotten to a horror festival. But like Halloween night, we're gonna do the marathon of Disney stuff because for me, like Halloween and Disney are like that. So my Halloween is not complete until I have watched Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Lonesome Ghosts and Trick or Treat and Night on Bald Mountain. I have to watch those. That's Halloween for me. So we did a Vice Frasier Mummy marathon. True, we did watch both of them. All 2 of them, and that is all there is. The best part of toys for kids is I can have them be in brutal positions, like they mutilated themselves after making eye contact with Cthulhu, and then sit them down like gentlemen. True. Who is your favorite Transformer? Mine's Bumblebee and any Dinobot. My favorite Transformer is Cup. Which is weird, because as a kid, it was like, no, Hot Rod! Hot Rod's cool! Hot Rod is like the hip, cool, young Transformer, right? But I got a Cup toy as a kid, because he was on sale, so my parents got me Cup. And that initially got me warmed up to him, and now the older I get, the more sense Cup makes. So, there we go. Yeah, hopefully that's... I just had to turn the volume a little bit there. Yeah, I like Cup. I like the idea of the Dinobots, but I find Grimlock very frustrating as a character. So that prevents me from loving them. But I mean, I do have, like, I haven't showed it off, but down here I've actually got, like, my core class Transformers, and I do have Volcanicus. That new core class Volcanicus that they made. I've got him with the third-party add-ons there, upgrade kit, so that he actually doesn't look like a Toad, or like a Gremlin or something. But yeah, I love this figure. This is so cool. Volcanicus, kick-ass. Oh no, hey, stop moving around. I gotta get you back in this position. Because, yeah, I have my little Transformer shelf diorama down here as well. Yeah, another one that actually has really grown on me as an adult is Springer as well. Like, I always thought Springer was kind of like the actual cool dude in Transformers the movie, and now the older I get, the more cool he gets. And plus, he has the best line in all of cinema. So, I got better things to do tonight than die. Springer's awesome. I don't have a Springer toy, though, unfortunately. Up there, I've got my big Transformers. Right up there. And right now, that big Transformer collection is Cup, Wheelie, Wreck-Gar, Bumblebee, Spike in the exosuit, Scourge, Cyclonus, the Super 7 Reaction Quintesson, Sharkticon, and Death's Head. So, but I will be getting more over time, I am sure, as I find them secondhand and so on. I didn't get the Studio Series ones because I don't feel like paying like $40 to $100 for a Transformer. But I've been buying like secondhand Transformers, and that's been working out fine. And then I got my core class Transformers down here, so you can see like Skylinks, like right where my hand is there. And then I've got like Volcanicus, and I have a core scale third party Devastator as well, and then I've got all the other ones, Megatron and Optimus and Ironhide and Ratchet and the Seekers and all that. Cool. Well, now that I got permission, I will do one about the Black Cat. Sure. Oh, be a fun video. Yeah. Let me know. Let us know when you post it. Rex Evans, The Shining is good. I visited the hotel they filmed at. I don't understand what it has to do with the moon landing, though. Oh, God. Yes, 82, they have color. Cool, yeah. Cub's a respectable decision. Mine's based on nostalgia and nepotism. Of course. Go to the music page. The holiday albums are at the bottom until November 1st when they go to the top. Nice. Can you guess who live-action Grimlock is related to? Nobody, because AI is taking my family's main job. Taking jobs away from dinosaurs. Springer is incredible. Stole my family's motto, though. Tonight is, I have better things to do tonight than die. My friend gave me a Mold-A-Rama gorilla toy from a zoo because of my extreme King Kong hyperfixation. Looks like, kind of like the older Rama kits. I would love to get a Kong Mold-A-Rama. I've looked them up on eBay. A little more than I want to pay for one. If I knew someone who was going to Universal and wanted to get me a Kong Mold-A-Rama figure, I would be happy to compensate. But, yeah, because the chances of me going back to Universal are pretty slim. Universal Hollywood is more likely than Universal Florida because I'm probably not going to go to Florida anytime soon. Just with not exactly my first choice for a vacation destination anyways, and then with Disney World having just priced me out, just flat out priced me out. There's not really there's things we would do if we went to Florida, but not enough to go to Florida to do them. Like St. Augustine is a beautiful little city. I'd love to go back there, but not enough to go specifically to go to St. Augustine. So chances of me going to Universal Florida are pretty slim. But, like I said, if anybody wants to get me a King Kong Mold-A-Rama from Universal, I would appreciate it. I don't think it was a King Kong, just in a gorilla. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Universal one is actually, like, King Kong. It says King Kong on it, or at least it says Universal Studios, so that you can make the connection that way. Even though Kong is not a Universal character. But, whatever, I digress. But, yeah, no. That said, I mean, if I did go to Universal again and saw the Mold-A-Ramas and they had all the monsters, I would get all of them anyways. So whatever. Because why not? My school does have a trip planned Universal, but I think you'd have to talk to my parents first. Yeah. Yeah, well, if, shoot you a couple bucks. PayPal you or something. Pick me up a Kong Mold-A-Rama figure. Yeah. I don't know if they have them at Hollywood or not. I have to look that up. But like I said, Hollywood is more likely because I will go to LA again at some point in my life because there's stuff I want. Well, first of all, I want to do Route 66, and that ends in Los Angeles, so I will end up in Los Angeles at some point again. There's also like stuff I want to see around Hollywood and do videos about as well. I'm not making any money on my channel, so I can't like afford just to go specifically to film stuff. But I would like to do my own filming locations video for Kong. I would like to, just film this and that, a few other odds and ends and things around Hollywood having to do with the subject matter of my channel. But that's a ways off yet. We've got other vacation plans that we want to do first. I'd also like to go to New York and do some King Kong location filming stuff as well, but again, it's not like I'm making money with my channel. So I think I got a deposit of like $75 like a month ago after like the previous one being like 8 months before that. So oh goodness, I just looked at the King Kong Mold-A-Rama. It's the same mold as a standard gorilla, just with different text on it. There you go. Yeah, God, you're gonna make me look it up. King Kong Mold-A-Rama. Yeah, it's a gorilla and it says Universal Studios on it. So it would be the same figure. It's just contextually it becomes King Kong because it has Universal Studios printed on it. LA is great. I'm biased towards San Francisco, but I have a lot of family. LA, they're fairly well off. Yeah, I like California. I've said this before. I think it breaks my heart to see stories about like Los Angeles and San Francisco and stuff, and about sort of the crime and issues with homelessness, which I don't blame the homeless for. It sucks to be homeless. But the ineptitude of the government in dealing with that, and that sort of thing. And it breaks my heart because I love California. I've been to California a couple times now. And every time I go, I want to see more. And we were even supposed to go in 2020 and go to Yosemite and Sequoia and Kings Canyon and stuff, but that didn't happen. Yeah, every time I go to California, I want to see more of it. So, I first started going for Disneyland, and then from Disneyland kind of spreading out, going to like Hollywood and going to other places around Los Angeles, and went to San Francisco on the layover from Paris, and want to see more San Francisco, and wanting to see the sequoia trees and all that sort of stuff. And Route 66 goes through the Mojave Desert, and I just did that video on Palm Springs, so it'd be cool to check that out too, but, whatever. But yeah, I like Los Angeles, and I like Hollywood history, and that's where it is there. I want to check that out. I want to go to the... I want to go back to the La Brea Tar Pits, now that I've written a book about the Ice Age. I want to visit the monastery where they did a lot of filming for Zorro, for Disney's Zorro. I want to visit that. I'd like to visit Catalina Island as well, because so many like tiki movies were filmed there, like South Pacific movies. So like Bird of Paradise did filming there, Mutiny on the Bounty did filming there, a lot of sarong pictures, they call them. So like Catalina Island is like Hollywood's favorite South Seas island. So I'd like to visit Catalina Island too, but we'll see. As I said, the next time I really anticipate being in Los Angeles is when we do Route 66. I'm not sure when that's going to be. That'll probably be a few years off yet, I would imagine. Pending finances and time and all that sort of stuff. And pre-trips, because we have to... There's parts of Route 66 that we know we'll want to spend a lot of time there. So like Santa Fe, New Mexico, and in Missouri. There's so many things to see that I want to spend like a week in each of those places just by themselves. So do some of those pre-trips and then do the whole thing. So it's a little bit shorter. But I've been in New York and I went to the Empire State Building and I saw some cool King Kong stuff there. Got to be in Kong's hand and I got to go to the top of the building. Yeah, they have like that whole exhibit in the Empire State Building with like Kong breaking through the wall and like there's the video, like the windows where he's looking through and then there's like his hand there and stuff. Yeah, and I want to get like a statue of Kong climbing the Empire State Building from the Empire State Building. And I've pre-shopped at the online gift shop, but it's like, no, it's a souvenir. I have to pick up the souvenir when I'm there. That's the point of a souvenir. So eventually, someday, might manage to do that. It's not against super high on my list of priorities, but wouldn't turn down a trip to New York. Let's put it that way. My family has recently been contacted to help dealing with the homeless problem in a more direct manner. I was homeless for half a year due to moving, but I got a home now. Excellent, creature. I'm glad to hear that. Well, yeah. If you got pigs and chickens and stuff, you are living your best life. There you go. Yeah, it's tragic, and I'm not like anti-homeless. Don't get me wrong. It's just that you have to find a way of managing that problem in a way that benefits both the homeless people and the people who have to live in the city as well. The actual, like the residents, the housed residents. You can't have a civil society where you have to dodge homeless people and encampments and needles and human excrement and stuff. Like, that's just not a livable situation for anybody. For the people or for the residents or the homeless. So you need to find homes for the homeless and help homeless people to recover from their addictions and their trauma and their mental illnesses and everything else that leads them to being homeless. That's the solution. But letting homeless people have free reign and to do whatever they feel like doing is not a solution. So, anyways. Now that we're gonna get canceled here. I went to New York. I wanted to get one, but it was too expensive, so I stole it. I'm glad most of my family didn't agree to helping the government. Yeah, that's eating the homeless is a little too direct, I think. It's a modest proposal, but not a very good one. Actually, I had an idea for if I ever do visit New York, is that you can order online a Kong, like a pewter Kong that is like he's gripping the Empire State Building, but it's just the Kong figure. So I thought, like, yeah, okay, if I know I'm going to New York, order that Kong figure and then find an Empire State Building model that he fits on, and then that would be cool. But we'll see. I've already like pre-shopped like a dozen different Kong things I want to buy from New York. So, but it would be cool to go there and do a Kong tour, do a Ghostbusters tour, to go to like Hook and Ladder 8 and so on. The Sedgwick Building, all that sort of stuff. Do that stuff, and then also the bride would like to go to Broadway and see a Broadway show and that sort of thing. Like, of course, absolutely. It's just Phantom is wrapped up, so nuts, can't see Phantom. And we missed out on seeing King Kong on Broadway, which is both a blessing and a curse in some ways. The cachet of seeing Kong on Broadway would have been cool. The show itself was terrible. So, I stopped talking to the ones who agreed to it, but they got some custom feathers, which look good. Yeah, I didn't see too much online about the that direct solution to the homeless issue in San Francisco. So, but maybe the government just kept it under wraps. Maybe it was just for the like they had like the G8 or whatever there, and then suddenly the homeless problem they could deal with it. So maybe it was part of that. I don't know. Oh no, right. It was when some Chinese diplomats were coming to San Francisco and they like cleaned it up. Whatever it was. I've gone all over the place here. As usual for my my live streams. They do end up going all over the place, as they are wont to do, which is why I'm not going to do themed ones anymore. Because I did the vote. I did the tally, and everyone voted to let's just get together and chat. So that's what we're going to do from now on. And this is sort of the first one of that new series, I guess. I'm annoyed by the Phantom musical. It should have been an opera. You know, I thought it was originally. When I was a kid, I thought the Phantom of the Opera was an opera. But no, it's a musical, which is different. So, I also had New York slice of pizza, went on the ferry next to the Statue of Liberty, went to Lion King on Broadway, and went to Memorial to the event we can't talk about on YouTube. Yeah, fair enough. I actually did see Lion King, because we get like the Broadway across Canada, the traveling Broadway productions coming here. So I've seen the Lion King that way. I've also seen, what have I seen in that? Usually the Disney ones. So I've seen Lion King, I've seen Mary Poppins, I've seen Beauty and the Beast, seen Wicked, seen that one. I haven't seen Phantom. I have not seen, I don't think I've seen Phantom. I've seen Les Mis. Seen, and then for like actual operettas and stuff, I've seen La Boheme, I've seen Dialogue of the Carmelites, a couple other ones I can't remember off the top of my head. Government, the church, Hollywood, and a few more keep my family very private. Oh, Phantom is an operetta, technically. Okay. Thank you, Bride. The Bride of the Monster Kid is the musical theater expert. So if you want to talk musical theater, you talk with her. Maybe we'll do a live stream with her sometime and just talk about like musical theater. It's my favorite classic film costume. Favorite classic film costume? Ooh, I haven't given that one much thought. Would probably be something from a musical. So like Busby Berkeley or Sharon Rogers. Something like from one of those. I'd have to think about it. But it'd be some like kind of glorious thing. Or Mae West. Like one of Mae West's like giant like Victorian outfits. Like with the bustle and the giant hat and stuff. Could be one of those. True. Although, I mean, in that vein though, slightly less classic because it's 1960s. Yeah. It would have to be My Fair Lady, the black and white outfit. Audrey Hepburn's black and white Victorian outfit when they go to Ascot. Yeah, I think that would have to be my favorite classic film costume. I also want to give you paleontologists some advice. Our feathers are like jackets we wear when it's cold. Definitely. I'd love to go to the American Museum of Natural History. Yeah, I would too. I mean, I wish, for my purposes, I wish that it was still how it looked in the 30s. Because the American Museum of Natural History in the 30s is what inspired Skull Island in King Kong. Skull Island is essentially the American Museum of Natural History come to life. But, you know, times change and presentation changes and science changes, so they've changed the American Museum of Natural History. Fair enough. Also, the New York Public Library as well. Not just because it's a Ghostbusters location, but they also have the original Winnie the Pooh stuffed animals, like Christopher Robin Milne's own plushes. They have them there. They have a Gutenberg Bible at the New York Public Library. It's like, that would be amazing just to go to there and see the exhibits at the library, let alone being a Ghostbusters filming location. My favorite classic film costume is The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, that's a good one. I think of that more as like effects as opposed to a costume. I think a costume is like an outfit. Oh, and I went to the MoMA. Almost forgot. Fair enough. I don't, having worked in museums, I'm not as eager about going specifically to an art museum anymore. So I probably would end up skipping out on MoMA unless it was like I did my research and there was like some like historical exhibit I really wanted to see. The fact it's an operetta annoys me more because it's close to being an opera. 2 or 3 lines, yeah. Although there are a lot of lines in Phantom where I'm like, you could have just said that. You didn't have to sing that. The dinosaurs on my series have feathers, nice. They're so close to perfection. That's fine. We just know it. Haven't seen the mold around machines in Hollywood. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's just a Florida thing, because all of the the retro type stuff I see is from Florida for Universal Studios. So like the tribute stores, when they do like that Monster Tiki store, that kind of thing, all that stuff I see is from Florida. So wouldn't surprise me if they're not at Hollywood, which is unfortunate because Hollywood is the one I would most likely visit next. So. My favorite film costume is the full suit and bow tie worn by Marlene Dietrich in Morocco. Yeah, 30. It's also just one of my favorites. I also like the Charles Gamora gorilla. Cool. Yeah, it's got me thinking about movie costumes. I mean, most of Ginger Rogers' outfits in the Astaire and Rogers series are great. Even like her just, where it's just like a summer dress kind of thing. Or she's just wearing like a sweater and joggers and stuff. She looks amazing in them. But I mean, Ginger Rogers at the peak of her attractiveness looks good in anything. So, yeah, I can't think of any specific ones from Busby Berkeley. They're all just like amazing. Yeah, I see. My mind is veering towards like the glamorous gowns worn by glamorous women. So like Dolores Del Rio in Flying Down to Rio, Ginger Rogers in any given Astaire and Rogers movie, stuff like that. Like even like saying the Mae West like Victorian like bustle skirts and giant hats. Pick one. Like whatever, they're all amazing. So I am like so drifting towards like the glamorous women in glamorous gowns. To me that's like the classic Hollywood thing, right? If you think like monster costumes, god. I mean I would go with the Mummy, I guess, because both outfits, the first as the Mummy, he's all in the bandages, and then as Ardeth Bay, they're both really good for their respective what they're trying to convey. So, Dracula got too stereotyped, so it's hard to say like, oh, the Dracula costume. I mean, it's a nice dinner suit. The Frankenstein, if you took the total package of makeup, then that's pretty amazing, but. Bride, you got me thinking. You got me thinking about this, and I'm going to watch a whole bunch of movies again. Let's see, Miles found basically extinct creatures found at the museum. Awesome. Saw the original Winnie the Pooh. It was cool, but my brother is upset. I didn't enjoy seeing Tom Jefferson's signature. My family already has something nice. I would be more excited about Winnie the Pooh than Thomas Jefferson, but I'm not American, so it doesn't have quite the same effect on me. If you count Creature as effects, then Creature's outfit from Walks Among Us, or the fur coat of the monster inside Frankenstein. Yeah. Marlene Dietrich is probably my favorite Hollywood actor, along with Fay Wray, of course. Yeah, my favorite actors for classic Hollywood, Charles Laughton, first and foremost, Charles Laughton. Boris Karloff, unironically. Boris Karloff is amazing. So versatile. And I know it's sort of like, there was, after Ed Wood, there was sort of that swing towards like, everybody kind of like, not liking Boris Karloff and preferring Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi as an icon, Boris Karloff as an actor. Burgess Meredith I really like as well, weirdly. But that's because he's in one of my favorite movies. One of my, like, if you get outside of the monster movies, my like my favorite Hollywood movie outside of the monster ones. It's like Of Mice and Men with Lon Chaney Jr. and amazing casting, and Burgess Meredith uh, as the main characters there. Yeah, Peter Lorre I like, but he's so distinctive. If I think it's like actors as actors, actors, still Charles Laughton is the one that comes to the top of my list. Dude was amazing at everything he was in. Even stuff where I didn't like the character. Like, there's this one movie, I forget what it is. But it's like, it's set in like the South Seas, and he plays this absolute scumbag who takes advantage of everyone around him, and is played off like, oh, he's just a lovable scamp. It's like, no, this guy's a horrible person. But it's Charles Laughton, so he plays it amazingly. I can't believe I asked that question, though. I can't choose my favorite costume. But Creature was stunning, but also there was something so perfect about Victor Frankenstein's bride's gowns. Bride, are you thinking like Mae Clarke from the first Frankenstein, or Valerie Hobson from Bride of Frankenstein? Valerie Hobson is definitely my favorite. And yeah, her gowns and just those flowing things, all these trains and stuff. Oh, yeah. Again, it's the glamorous women in glamorous gowns thing. The Mummy is great outfit, hard to put on with arm extenders though. Definitely, yeah. My favorite actor is my grandpa. He gave a Lego Millennium Falcon, although he did do Aloe Face in The Lost World. If I couldn't do one I'm related to, I'd say Lon Chaney's. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, there are like those dinosaur mummies that are found periodically, right? Like there's Leonard the Edmontosaurus, the Hadrosaur mummy found there, and then found here in Alberta, my province, the Borealopelta, the Ankylosaur that's been mummified. He's pretty awesome. So there are dinosaur mummies. So you could do that. Be no problem there, right? And now I'm tormented by that movie costume question. Thanks, Bride. Yeah. Again, my mind keeps gravitating towards glamorous women in glamorous dresses. So. Or, I picked this up today, found it at the thrift store, called the Birds of Paradise Blu-ray. So, Dolores Del Rio wearing practically nothing in it, so that's fun. Also found Public Enemy, so finally going to watch that. 4D Man. Betty, this is like a really good day at the thrift store. Betty Boop Volume 1 and the Fleischer Superman, all Blu-rays for like $4 a piece. So, good day at the thrift store. Thanks to my cousin for being in town and saying, let's go to a thrift store. Like, okay. The first movie, her wedding gown was absolutely perfect and ethereal. Also fitted perfect to her body and was also cut at the bias. Moi. Yes, Mae Clarke, Frankenstein. Yeah. When she's in her room there, and then the Frankenstein monster comes in, rawr, kidnaps her. Yeah. No, he doesn't. Does he kidnap her in that one? Yes. Kidnaps her in that one. Doesn't in Bride. Yeah. Yeah, friends with a few of their descendants. I was considering a dino mummy, but I wanted to do the universal canon, so it had to be toilet paper style. Fair enough. There's a speculative evolution in the series, although you may not like it as it involves fictional creatures. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, if you set out with like this is speculative evolution, then okay. It's just when they start making like weird pseudo dinosaurs just so they can copyright them, that's where I'm kind of like me. Besides the squid in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, my squid relatives haven't been in any major films. I'm not sure how you didn't already have Birds of Paradise on Blu-ray before. Yeah, well, I mean, see, the thing with Bird of Paradise, as you might have picked up from my review, my RKO series, is that I like the idea of it more than I like the execution of it. So, filmed on location in Tahiti, filmed outdoors on Catalina Island. You've got actual authentic footage in there of Polynesian people. You've got big song and dance numbers. You've got the girl in the volcano trope. You've got all that stuff. And it's all good. And Joel McRae is good. But Dolores Del Rio is so annoying in it. Like, she's just so, like, it's almost, it's borderline, like, this is an offensive stereotype in here. Like, she's just, like, trying to play up this childlike innocence, and she's so loud and so exuberant, and she's just doing this, like, clipped babble language. And, like, that is a case where it's like, if an actual Polynesian person watched that and they were offended by that, I would totally understand. Yeah. So, it's got that caveat that's prevented me from, like, wanting to spend a lot of money on a Blu-ray for it. But $4 at the thrift store, sure, I'll buy it. $4, no problem. But yeah, so. Fictional creatures interacting with real dinosaurs is cool when it's not a documentary. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, again, it's like, I feel like I don't have a consistent point of view on it, because it's like, I make an exception for King Kong, right? King Kong, it's like the Lost World, but then they throw in a giant gorilla. And that's fine, even though that violates, like, a bunch of rules that I have said for myself about how I like, an elegant, simple sort of premise. I don't like mixing in a lot of extraneous things that start making it harder and harder to suspend disbelief. King Kong breaks all of those rules that I have, but it's so good that it's okay. But it's like some lesser efforts, and and like other versions of King Kong, like the King Kong of Skull Island stuff by Joe DeVito. It's like, nah, you're just making fake dinosaurs so that you have something to copyright. I like Dinotopia, which is like a whole fictional society, but it's like real dinosaurs in it. So, yeah, I don't know if I got a rule for that or not. Are you related to any octopi? If you are, then you might be able to get some money. If not, marry in. My family did so. So any Triceratops in a live-action film owes my family cash. It's weird that my child's best friend is now my cousin. It's weirder that she used to have a crush on me. Ah. Josh says, I really liked your Val Lewton video. Thank you. Big fan of his films since the Martin Scorsese doc. Have you ever noticed that The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad has an identical tone to Lewton's films? That has never popped out at me, but now that you say it, I am going to, when I do my Halloween viewing of Legend of Sleepy Hollow, I am going to pay attention to that and see. I can see where you're coming from with that, because it's the whole, like, is he or isn't he? Is the Headless Horseman real or not? And how that's kind of unresolved. Would have that Lutonian sort of flair to it. You have a lot of that light and shadow, at least in the final act there, the chase scene. So I can see that. I can see that argument. I will have to look at that more closely this year. You got me thinking about that. Yes, and then, yeah, there's still another Luton video coming. Next month it's going to be the Boris Karloff ones. Because this one's was large enough. I didn't even get to the Boris Karloff ones yet. Yeah, it's going to be... So the pattern for the RKO ones, next month is going to be the Boris Karloff ones. Then I'm going to do a Christmas special, because RKO did the greatest Christmas movie of all time. So I'm going to do that for Christmas. And then after that, I might actually do one on the movie where Boris Karloff, Peter Lorre, and Bela Lugosi were all in it together, an RKO movie. So that might be that. And then, at some point, I have to get around to Citizen Kane as well. I have been avoiding Citizen Kane, because what could I possibly have to add to the discussion about Citizen Kane? But you can't talk about RKO and not talk about Citizen Kane. So that will come eventually as well. And I'm going to do a large video, and it might end up being a couple parts, but a large video on just sort of like all of RKO's like sci-fi movies, like from beginning to end of the company. So like before King Kong through to like The Thing from Another World. So that will come down the line as well. In fact, that might actually be like my last ones in the series as well. Haven't decided that yet. Internet connection here. Sorry, now the bride is... I've been texting with the bride. We'll see. Am I back on? Let's see. Am I back on? Oh, there we go. Okay. Expose says I'm back. All right. I gave up on it. I was actually like, all right, I guess it's done. And I went upstairs and popped in the Fleischer Superman stuff and texted the bride that, like, well, I guess it's done. And she's like, no, everybody's still here. It's still on. Like, what? So, yeah, the internet kicked out. So, there's now going to be, what, a 10-minute glitch in the stream? So, I tried to actually stop it, but I guess because it was disconnected, it couldn't actually connect to YouTube to tell them to stop it. So, it just counts as interrupted rather than any actual thing. So, where were we then? Where did we leave off? Do I have an Instagram page? Yes, but it's not Monster Kid themed. My Instagram is actually my wife and I's, we go hiking in historical costume. So it's photos of that, but we haven't updated it in like a year because we haven't had the opportunity to do a lot of hiking this past summer or anything. So it's pretty much dead. So, but Heritage Hikers, if you are really that interested, Pat. It's really sad that all my friends think old movies are from the 80s. So obviously they don't watch older films. Yep. Don't forget the Broken Gorilla. Yep. Rex is having wife problems. Stream coming from me. Yeah, stream glitched. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Internet. Y'all talking about the internet. The Goblins. Yeah, it's live. Yep. Now I know what it feels like to be God. Trent is on as well, or is Trent Johnston? Is that a different person who I know who that is? Yeah, hopefully. Fortunately, yeah, the Morse code. Thanks, Rex. Yeah, the internet kicked out here at the house, so. But back on long enough to say we'll probably wrap it up anyways, since it's 8:52. It's almost been like 2 hours now, counting that lapse of a few minutes there. So now we go back to normal. You guys aren't normal anyways. You talking about back to normal. There's no normal for you guys. But I'll give another second here if anyone has anything to add. You see nothing. That is the creature. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, that all got messed up. It's got to be something, hey? Can't have a stream without something happening. There's a one time I messed it up completely and started and stopped the stream within 1 minute. I had to recreate a new stream. Have I seen Reefer Madness? I've actually not seen Reefer Madness. You saying a T-Rex and a squid talking about 1930s film isn't normal? Not particularly. Do I like Dungeons and Dragons? I thought the Ravenloft setting was cool. The Ravenloft setting is really cool. I wouldn't try getting into D&D at this point. Barrier to entry is too high, and from everything I've been hearing, Wizards of the Coast isn't exactly... Oh, wait. What if I turned on the microphone? God. I don't know if you guys heard any of what I was saying there. Good Lord. It's always something. Do a better microphone here, hopefully. I don't know, maybe... Were you guys actually hearing me at all, or was I just talking into the void? Do I like D&D? I said I like the Ravenloft setting, because obviously, but I don't play it, and everything I hear is that Wizards of the Coast isn't really that fond of honoring Dungeons and Dragons, so whatever. I like Ravenloft. Okay, you did hear me. Okay, good. I like Ravenloft. Maybe instead of D&D, try Mass or Mecha vs. Kaiju, similar RPGs, but different, less gatekeepy. We can hear everything. Okay, good. My homework is to choose your favorite costume pre-1960. Yeah, I don't really have time for role-playing games. And I'm not really integrated with any groups that play it anyways, so... do board games. The bride and I do board games. So, Talisman. I do enjoy Talisman. And, actually, in Talisman, I play a custom figure that I invented, a custom character. That's a steam-powered robot. And he's a little OP, but he's balanced out by the fact that every round he has to take a roll to see if his boiler explodes. And if he has a boiler explosion, then he misses a turn. So, kind of make up for it that way. But, you know, I've played constantly with that character, and I don't always win with him. So, he's not that OP. We also made characters of all the Disney princesses and stuff as well. So, that was fun. Sometimes we use, like, Disney figures instead of the actual miniatures that come with Talisman. But we play Talisman, we play Disney Villainous, the Universal Monsters board game, whatever it is, whatever it's called. I have BioShock Siege of Columbia, but that's like Risk on steroids, so we don't play it that often. But favorite pre-60s costume is Charlie Chaplin. Oh, that's a good one, actually. So before, Marlene Dietrich in Morocco, 1930. Hear everything. Hopefully not when the stream was down. You would have heard me cussing. Boiler explosions are rough. I had some siblings who got caught in one pre-hatching. Yeah. Yeah, well, I didn't want to make like... Okay, there. It blipped out again. At least I reconnected faster this time. I had the classic watch games for Hasbro. Box are my favorite. Parents had hard-boiled eggs for breakfast. Oh, thing of bad luck. Lost video again. I like the board game Horrified. Yes. It's Universal Monsters. Yes, that's the one. We use some of the villainous game pieces in Talismouse. Like Monopoly, I guess. Alright, well, since this keeps crapping out on me, I'm going to end the stream here. And we will pick up the discussion about board games and stuff next month. So, let's do our usual previews, shall we? So, there we go. As I said, we're giving up on themed live streams because we never keep to the theme anyways. So, here's a new logo for the Monster Kid Cory live stream that we're going to be doing more or less here on out. We might have some few theme-ish ones down the road, but no, we're just going to get together and chit-chat and talk about monsters and movies and whatever else in our monthly live stream. So there we go. That's that. And yeah, happy Halloween, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Sorry about the interruptions. I wish my internet wasn't crap, apparently. Yeah, happy Halloween, safe trick-or-treating, and we'll see you next month.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.